Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes more or less ship review, right behind me, the Robert Space Industries Salvation. Let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, welcome back to another review. Thank you Archangel 8, Zero Grav, Cypher 1, What 124, and WinRar 42, as well as RC the Vixen, which is also a streamer and YouTuber. Make sure you check out her channels. She is quite awesome. Now, with this, we are taking a look at the new Robert Space Industries Salvation, which is a beginner salvaging ship. So with that, what is the cost of this thing? It's small, it's cute, it does pretty decent work for what it is and can fit into a number of different ships, which we'll talk about here in a moment. It is $55 War Bond if you were to buy it on the Pledge Store, or $60 store credit. You cannot get it in-game yet at this time, but sooner or later it will become available, probably in a few months, so keep an eye out. Now it does have a claim time of 6 minutes or an expedited claim time of 1 minute and 30 seconds. You gotta ask yourself, is this actually a viable ship whether you're new to the game or an experienced veteran? And yes, it really is, because while it doesn't have that much storage overall, you can carry 6 on the grid, 6 on the internal buffer, and 1 additional, so about 12 to 13 SCU. That doesn't seem like a lot, but once you go and get it refined and taken care of, it is a pretty good amount of money without having to do much else, right? Because you're not putting a bunch of UEC into this. You don't have to have a big capital to do this. All you have to do is get in your ship, go out there and start salvaging, and you just get instant money, right? And that's pretty awesome, and I do think it is a great little ship. It does have a total of 437 burst damage per second from the pilot due to the 2 size 1 CF-117 Bulldogs. Now, you're not going to be going out there and doing any sort of combat with this, but those guns will be good to strip the shields off a ship if it's out there, abandoned, but with the power system still operating and their shields on. This will help take down the shield, open a door, you can get in there, shut it down, take care of the salvaging aspect. Now you do have 2 size 1 cinch scrapers that comes with a speed of 8.0 with a 0.8 meter diameter and an efficiency of 0.85, which isn't terrible. It actually works pretty well, but obviously the opinion here, and I wouldn't say obviously, honestly, but it is to replace both of those with the Brady scrapers, which has a 1.50 speed, a 2.8 diameter, and a 0.77 efficiency. It is what a lot of salvagers will do over time once they make the money to do so, is just switch over to the Brady's. And I say that's a pretty good move, but you can definitely keep it stock if you want to. Now the ship also has a 2 size 1 industrial grade C shield generators outputting 4,200 bubble shield, which is actually quite surprising because if you look at the ship HP, you almost have just as much shield as HP. You're sitting at 5,503 ship HP overall. You also have a top SCM speed of 205 with a 290 forward boost, a 230 backwards boost, and a 1,150 nav speed. It has a total pitch yaw roll of 45, 45, 140, and a boosted 54, 54, 168, which is definitely not terrible by any means, because you're not out there trying to weave your way in and out of a capital ship battle or even a firefight between you and fighters. You're out there, salvaging, so you really don't have to concern yourself with speed or maneuverability. The only time you do is when it's time to take off and get out of there to avoid incoming fire. Now, you're not going to be faster than a light fighter, so just be wary of your surroundings at all times. You do have 48 flares and 5 noise, typical across all ships, right? And then you have 25 SCU of hydrogen fuel and 1 SCU of quantum fuel. This ship is not meant to be going long distances. There is no interior space to lay down. There's no interior kitchen. There's just no interior. You have a cockpit that you get in and out of, like the Golem or the soon-to-be Golem Ox here on Drake Day, but that's it. So you're supposed to be leaving a parent ship or a station or a landing zone, going out, salvaging, coming back, dropping it off, refueling, doing what you need to do, get some sleep, get some drinks, whatever. That's the type of ship this is. It's not going to be out on any sort of long duration salvages. Now, if you are looking at what this thing can fit in, of course it can fit in the Idris, the 890, the Polaris. It can fit in the top of the Carrack, but trying to fit it into the front of the Carrack is very dangerous and honestly ends in disaster and not recommended. You can also fit this in the Hercules-sized ships. The Connies is a no-go. Constellations, you cannot fit it on. Not even the Taurus can you fit it on, which is too bad. The Reclaimer, technically, you can't fit it in there unless you were to have it completely, occupied by a pilot the entire time. Then you can kind of bring it up that main elevator shaft and kind of just wait in there. But again, that just seems kind of uncomfortable, but it is possible in an emergency situation. You cannot fit it in the MSR. You can fit it in the Perseus. It just takes a little bit of a nudge, but it definitely works. And then when it comes down to the Hammerhead, that's also a no-go. Now, if you're looking at the Corsair, it does fit, but it's an extremely tight fit. You're going to scrape both sides of the interior of that ship, and it's going to be kind of difficult to get it back out because you are so tall in that cargo area that you might hit the roof before even being able to get your landing gear back up into your ship. Now, for the Asgard, it fits perfectly fine, so that's good too. Now with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the exterior of this ship, and I'll show you every single access point that I possibly can. First and foremost, you do have a weapons rack right here on the port side of the ship, allowing you to store something like this, a rifle. So I'll go ahead and place that here, and you'll see that's pretty beautiful. So then I'll go ahead and retract that, and we'll take a look at the next area. Every one of these little blue buttons does open an area on the ship, so we'll go ahead and put that away. And that's a nice shield generator right there. We'll go ahead and open this next one. Nice little fuel port. And then, of course, you got right here. This is a nice little step so you can go ahead and hop onto the top of your ship and take care of any components on top. So once you are up here, you can go ahead and open up the rest of the component bays. Another one right here. They're all over the place on this thing. So you got them up here by the cockpit. You got them all over the wing area, or wing area. That's not really much of a wing, but they are ever presently so all over this nice little ship here. And then when you make your way to the backside, of course, you do have the area where the cargo spits into once you salvage a ship. So there's a little door back here right there that will auto eject if you have that function on in the cockpit, which I'll show you here in a second. But then once these are full, to get the boxes out, you really don't want to do it when it's like this. You go ahead and hit this deploy button, it'll drop it down, and it makes getting the boxes 10 times easier. So that is really nice. Now we'll go ahead and retract that and make our way to the other side of the ship, and you'll see, of course, more blue buttons. One here, which is a storage access point. So when you click that, you go ahead and get some storage, which is really nice. So go ahead and do that. It has 900,000 micro SCU. And then if we're to look here, we can go ahead and deploy this, another ramp that will take you up to the ship if needed. And then continuing, let me go ahead and close that storage unit. Continuing down here, you do have over here another area with the nice little relays, which is pretty neat, having relays on this. And then another weapons rack. This one here will be good for any of your additional items like a med gun or like a tractor beam. So go ahead and place that there. Looks pretty good. Go ahead and place this here, or you can put a handgun there if you really wanted to, and go ahead and put that back in, and you're good to go. So you do have a spot for all your weapons and gear, and then to get into the ship, it's right here at the front. So we'll go ahead and show you that. I'm gonna hit F to enter the pilot seat. It'll expand down. It has a really long time, kind of like the Talon, but it's not nearly as bad as the Talon. So it'll bring itself back in, and now we're in the cockpit. You do have 2 MFDs in front of you, and then you have a third screen to your right that shows you how much stuff you have inside your internal storage, and also your keys for auto ejecting and everything. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So make sure that's clicked there. It should auto eject into the ship, and that's pretty neat. And that's how you would keep an eye on that. Now to deploy, you can either scroll wheel or not scroll wheel, but click your scroll wheel, and you can end up deploying the front of the ship, which would look like this. And that right there is the beams on the salvation. Now, when clicking the scroll wheel, that is the option, or you can just go ahead and press M to go ahead and deploy them, and that deploys them as well. It shows you on the top right and the top left what scraper modules you do have on, the diameter, the speed, the efficiency, and then of course you have your targets right at the middle of the screen, the percentage of how much you're scraping. It's all right there and available for you. So you can go ahead and just start scraping away. It is really cool, and it's such a neat ship, allowing you to go out there and salvage as a beginner. To be honest, this thing is a fantastic little ship, and if I had the choice of naming it, as many have said in my group, it should be called the RSI Scarab, because it's like one of those things that would rip apart and, scavenge out there. The Scarab would be such a cool name for this ship, but the salvation it is. And I honestly think for a beginner salvager, this is fantastic. I would be giving this a 90 out of 100. Yes, there are some drawbacks. You don't have an internal bed or anything you can lay down. It's a very small ship, which is cool because it goes to a parent ship, and that's fine. But of course, it's really nice when these type of ships do have some sort of life system for you, right? So internals with kitchens, beds, toilets, all that kind of stuff. You're a little low on your quantum fuel. No matter if you have a parent-born ship or a station nearby, it would be nice if you could jump a little bit further. Otherwise, it's a fantastic ship for a starter and many other things. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed. And of course, I'll see you all in the next one. If you're building a new PC, go through longshipindustries.com, a veteran-owned mom-and-pop business that takes pride in every single build. He built my personal rig, which you can actually see featured on the website. The care, warranty, and customer support are top tier. Trust Longship Industries for your next build.